Hi guys, my name is Vanessa Huerta and I'm going to be talking about the technological advances in the classroom and its benefits on child development. So I thought I'd go ahead and start off with a little explanation of what I mean by technology. Basically, it pretty much means computers, which can also be described as a systematic application of scientific and other organized knowledge to practical tasks. Now, to kind of view that a little more, I got some examples. And so for the examples we'll go ahead and start off with a tape recorder. And it is older, but it's a good example of how children they think a lot differently than we do. So if we record our voice on this tape recorder and replay it back, we'll automatically hear, that is our voice and it just clicks, we know that. But for a child when they first start hearing their own voice, they won't put two and two together right away. It takes them a while. They have to explore. And so it's a great way for them to expand their minds and think a little more in depth. And so we also have examples. I have the Kindle down here, and it's more of a way for the kids to be able to get their hands on more books, I guess, than they usually would, or at least easier. And so it's a great way for them to just be able to read on it. But then there's also things like the Promethean board and the Smart board. And those have a lot of games, like on Promethean Planet. I know there's a lot of lesson plans that you could even just download, but the kids are able to think about and do their own activities. They could even do group play where they have, 2 or 3 other people on the same board, so it allows the kids to do a lot more things with their peers and work in groups while doing all of their activities. And same with the iPad, they can have games on there as well, but as you see here, there's a kid practicing their handwriting, and it may not be the same as pen and paper, but I think it definitely helps them at least be able to recognize their letters and also even colors and shapes. So we'll go ahead and take a look at how these things can actually be used and how they affect children's development. So here it says, student knowledge and learning require students to be engaged in the learning process. So I just want to point out, if students are engaged in what they are learning and what the lesson is about, they're definitely going to be paying more attention. They're going to be interacting more and more involved into it. So I feel like they would get a lot more from that. So we're going to be talking about young children, ages 3 to 6. And I want to point out that through Jean Piaget, he came up, with schemas, which are the basic building blocks of intelligent behavior. And it's kind of just a way of organizing the knowledge. And so by using mental representations of the world, and so what's better than getting visual interactions through the Promethean board and through the Smart boards? If they can actually see it and learn what it is, I think it really goes off of that and it helps the children. And at this age, they're very open-minded to learning new things. They're always asking questions like why, what, where, when, and how. And so this just goes to show that they are very willing to learn new things. They want to explore. They want to expand their minds. And so it's a great opportunity to be able to take to help them visually see all of this and to take control of it. And here I also have that they have smaller attention spans and they're fidgety. So, I think we could all know that. And having them sitting at a desk, writing, reading, being repetitive, it's going to get boring after a while. But through the use of technology, they're able to use their attention span, keep it based onto the lesson. If they are moving around, if they're interacting, if they're physically moving around and thinking about it, and using their hands to touch different parts of the boards even. I think it's a great way for them to keep focus in the learning. So when we say technology, a lot of people automatically think TVs, but actually television isn't much of an educational tool. It doesn't provide any crucial emotional, social, cognitive, or physical experiences that they actually require while they're young in this age. It's very passive. The kids don't have hands-on. They just watch it. Oftentimes they aren't even thinking really about what's happening or what's going on. So I don't see TV as it, and especially right now when I'm talking about technology, we're not talking about TV, and I know a lot of teachers and other people as well don't think that. So when we do talk about technology, we're talking about computers and other interactive technology. Children are able to manipulate situations and come up with answers and outcomes while using these. And again, back to Piaget, he talks about egocentrism, and so being able to gain more independence through manipulating their own ways of coming up with how they want to do the activity, what they're going to press, where they're going to take the mouse, depending on what they're using. They can make their own decisions, and I think that's very important at this stage. So it's very appropriate for them also socially in their development, because they can cooperate with their friends, they can learn even from their peers. If they see someone else doing it, and then they can go and answer back, or even playing and writing on the board together. It just teaches them how to share and helps them learn how to cooperate with one another. And again, back with the independence and exploring by their own means. Now, OLCP, it's one laptop per child program, and basically it's just a program where they picked a poorer country and went and gave all of the children in these schools, and it happens to be 319 elementary schools, they gave each child a laptop. They gave it to them for 4 months, and they didn't give any instruction, they just gave it to them and let them do what they wanted with it. So after the 4 months, they took the laptops back, they looked at what the children did on them, how long they were on it for, how long they spent doing certain things, the times of the day they did it. And so the results of this, they found that there were actually no math or language effects, which kind of surprised me, but because I thought that technology had a lot more to do in the education system. But when people hear this, they think that, it's not important at all. But then you go ahead and take a look at the cognitive skill, which they actually use the Raven's progressive matrices, and those results show that there was a 5.1 months added onto what they started at. So the children, and this is based off of a general intelligence scale, and so the children were 5.1 months ahead of what they should have been at the end of the program. So I think that was a great example to show them, how beneficial it is to the child's mind and their cognitive development, even if it's not showing, math or like those kind of results. It is helping them developmentally. Now here I have teaching with technology. There's a lot of controversies with people thinking that technology is being used way too much in schools, or it's not being used correctly. And I think a lot of that is just people don't exactly know how it's being used. And so when you take a look at it, there are some teachers, of course, that are using technology just as like a reward or as a free time kind of thing. But if the teachers are actually implementing it into their curriculum, I feel it's a lot more important, because they're knowing when and how to use it. Like here it says, use a strategy. Just like a lesson plan, they should incorporate it, just like reading or writing or spreadsheets. They're not just going to use it as a reward, because then it just becomes games for the kids. But when they're using these things in their curriculum, the students are able to be more engaged into the learning process, and they'll benefit a lot more from that, because they're more focused and they're expanding their minds much more, thinking about all of it as a part of what they're supposed to be learning, rather than just having it be fun and games. So it says the people that think it's wrong think that it's just technology. Here you go, here's a computer. So they don't like the idea of that, but when you take a look at it, it's very educational and beneficial for the children. And then here's my bibliography. I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation. Thank you.